It's an amazing thing.
Well, now former President Barack Obama's former Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes, he's also weighing in by shifting the blame back on President Trump's response. He posted on Twitter, quote, what did Trump say when Obama administration issued statement in early October on Russia meddling? He spent weeks calling the election rigged. But another former senior administration official told the Washington Post that he felt like we sort of choked in the administration's response to Russian meddling. Jillian?
Wow, thanks for that, Kristen. So did President Obama drop the ball on his handling of Russia's cyber attacks? During an appearance on Fox and Friends, Congressman Jason Chaffetz blasted the former president for not responding more forcefully.
This whole Russia dust-up that the Democrats keep kicking dirt on and trying to create more and more smoke out there, this happened during Barack Obama's watch. He was the president of the United States. And as Trey Gowdy was able to get out of Jay Johnson, the Homeland Security Secretary, the Homeland Security Department tried to come in and help the Democrats, and guess what? The Democrats refused their help.
Meanwhile, Obama-era officials are standing by his decision.
You know, I know that the Obama White House is in a very difficult situation, and they made the best decisions they could. We call those 51-49 decisions. I'm sure you experienced them in the Bush White House.
We used to call them crummy and crummier.
Joining me now is retired four-star General Jack Keane. He serves as chairman of the Institute for the Study of War and is also our very own Fox News military analyst. Good afternoon, General. It's great to have you with us.
Hey, Jillian, it's great to see you on that side of the camera.
Thank you. Likewise. So according to this Washington Post story, the Obama administration, including the president himself, considered dozens of different options for retaliating against the Russia cyber interference and for presenting future attacks of the same nature, including cyber attacks, economic sanctions, and even releasing embarrassing CIA-generated information about President Putin. But ultimately, as you know, they didn't decide to go with any of these options and decided to pursue a much more moderate response. Why would they do that?
Well, it's interesting. I don't buy the excuses that Obama's staff is currently given. I think there's a clear pattern here of Obama's behavior when confronted with national security challenges. Time and time again, he always selects an option where he does nothing or it's modest. Case in point, just dealing with Russia. Russia annexes Crimea, pushes into Ukraine. We do nothing of consequence against them. Some sanctions, and it does not deter him at all. The Ukrainians come to Obama and say, give us arms, give us some training. We'll fight this guy ourselves. We don't need your soldiers. We don't need your airplanes. He says no. Russia intervenes in Syria, and Kerry sends a warning to Russia. Do not bomb the Syrian moderates who we are assisting. And they bomb them as one of the first ones that they attack. And our response? Nothing. We should have leveled one of the Syrian airfields, and we should have created the Russian runway. And the pattern goes beyond that, not helping the Syrian moderates in 2012 when it possibly could have made a difference. The chemical red line, his red line, no action, not helping the Libyans. When they, post-Gaddafi, when they needed some assistance to put down the radicals, those same radicals burned our consulate, killed our ambassador, and some other great Americans, forced the evacuation of the embassy. Jillian, there's a clear pattern. And what is that pattern? That pattern is, I think, is just simply this. This president, more than anyone that I've observed in my lifetime, when he is confronted with this kind of a challenge, he is paralyzed by his fear of adverse consequence. He gives in to that fear. And the reality is that presidents at times have to be, one, tough-minded, and two, they got to reach inside themselves and find the moral courage to overcome their fear. This is, I believe, at the heart of this problem. Putin wouldn't be in Syria today if Obama had stood up to him in Ukraine. I don't think he would be meddling in our elections to the degree he is. If he knew that Obama would probably do nothing. Putin knew he was going to get caught. He knows we got good forensics, and he knew Obama would likely do nothing. And that's exactly what's happened here.
Thanks for that sort of strategic picture, General. It's really helpful, I think, for viewers thinking through all the ways in which the U.S. relationship with Russia is kind of morphing, according to the media, on a daily basis. So according to this Washington Post story, if it's to be believed, we now have concrete evidence that the Putin regime interfered in U.S. elections in a tangible, covert way. Can you tell us a little bit about, just politics aside, we'll get to that in a moment, what does this mean for U.S. national security interests?
Well, Putin has a history of meddling in elections since he's been in office. So this goes all the way back to 2000. He's meddling in every election that's taken place in Eastern Europe. I think it was leaked in London after Brexit, probably out of one of the intelligence services, that through a third party he was meddling in the Brexit election. So it is not unusual for the former Soviet Union and for Russia to try to influence their adversaries politically. It's not unusual for the United States to do very much the same. Let's be frank about it. But the fact is, he is going to be so encouraged by this, Jillian, because look I think what he accomplishes is beyond his expectations. We've got 2 congressional investigations taking place. We have a special counsel investigation. We got both parties at each other's throats. We got the media fueling the fire on this. Political instability as a result of it. And we have a new administration that's struggling to get going because this is a distraction for them. This is victory Putin. He's going to come back in spades, and we have got to get tough with him. I think this administration, Jillian, is going to step up and put together a comprehensive strategy to, 1, deter Putin, 2, be willing to confront him to avoid conflict. But you're absolutely right. We are exposed, and he's coming back.
General, thanks so much for laying out the groundwork here, giving us a little bit more of a strategic picture on this. We really appreciate it. We hope you join us again soon.
Yeah, good talking to you, Jillian.
Likewise. You can hear more from President Trump on this topic tomorrow on Fox & Friends. President Trump is sitting down for an exclusive interview. You can catch that right here on the Fox News channel starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time.